Amy and Wes, and our narrowboat is currently moored here, in Bournville, a special little village on the outskirts of Birmingham.
Famous for its Cadbury chocolate, this town was built specifically to house the factory's workers, and to this day the town has some novel architecture and some pretty unusual rules.
So why not subscribe and join us as we show you around this unusual British working town. We made it to Bournville. It doesn't look like much from the canal, but it's actually quite an interesting town, so let's go and have a look. So this side of the canal is a town called Sturchley, which I'm sure we'll go and have a look at some point. And this side is Bournville, which is where we want to go.
Pretty cool.
All of the houses are named after different places. Dover, Dorset, Dunbar, Drayton, Desley, they all begin with a D. This is a pretty nice street. So these buildings here, they're behind this iron fence that you can see all along. It says they were built in 1898 by Richard Cadbury for the benefit of the workers of the Cadbury's factory, but also during the Second World War they removed all of the railings, and they did that to like melt the metal down to build like tanks and weapons, and sometimes they used long bits for stretchers. And you actually see that quite a lot in England, buildings like this with just stumps of metal, and it's where they removed it to use it for the war, and they've left this bit empty and restored the rest of it so you can see what it would have been like.
The architecture and everything's really cool. I love all the little details, like all the purple lampposts and the purple like stuff in the road. It's really cool. That there is the actual Cadbury factory. Massive. Just got the biggest whiff of chocolate. Oh my god, this smells amazing.
You can smell it now.
I'm genuinely instantly hungry for chocolate.
The whole thing of Bournville gets its name from this little brook here that goes into this, right next to the factory, and that's where they called it Bournville.
They added the Ville bit because at the time it was fashionable in France for confectionery names to have Ville at the end.
So obviously the main attraction at Bournville is the Cadbury World factory, which is a tour around the factory. Well, it's mainly like a tourist attraction for kids actually. They don't actually get to see much of the factory, but yeah, Cadbury World is the main thing here.
It used to be like a lot more historical, we think, so would have had like a bit more of a tour about the history and like the process of it, which we would have been much more interested in. But I think nowadays it's more for kids. It's more just sort of getting them to buy as much chocolate as possible.
So we're going to give it a skip because we don't eat chocolate anyway, we're vegan, so probably not for us, but we are interested in just the history of the factory and stuff. So we are just going to walk around the town of Bournville and kind of get the history of that, and it also has a link to the canals, which obviously we're interested in. So yeah, it's cool to see the building and the factory even if we're not going inside.
The child in me is a bit gutted we can't go inside, so instead I've got myself one of the vegan bars. That'll have to do me.
We've got to enjoy a Cadbury chocolate bar in Bournville with a cup of tea later when we get back to the boat. Has to be done.
If you are interested about the inside of Cadbury World though, Rob and Isabel went. But yeah, for us, we'll give it a miss and we're going to go check out the town.
That smell though, it's so good.
That must be the market research.
We've also got this, which isn't open to the general public, but it's a staff shop. And I think it's where all the staff and maybe friends and family of the staff can go and get mega discounted chocolate. Pretty cool perks. There they are, George and Richard.
The old Cadbury boys.
1824.
Oh, wow.
Oh no, 1879 the factory was built, or open for business.
So this is number 1 lodge. I think it's the old entrance to the factory, like the official way in. I don't know if it still is now, but again, like, just maintaining the architecture is just so cool to see. Alright, so we've come to the main village of Bournville now. First things first, need a drink.
Toffee apple cake.
Oh yes, look at that. We've got some sort of chilled chocolate drink, seemed appropriate, and a iced hibiscus tea.
Excuse me.
And if you hadn't already guessed,
He's excited. Be quiet.
there's a little pup cup. You're not having it if you're kicking off. Sit.
Sit.
Sit. Wait.
My goodness.
Not too quickly.
He's quiet now, isn't he?
Flicking it everywhere, mate.
2 new places in Birmingham.
Oh yeah.
Good.
It's like a hot chocolate but chilled. This is Selly Manor. They're really old timber houses, and apparently they were moved here when they were building the Bournville village. I don't understand quite how that works, especially with houses that old. I guess it's probably made a lot easier because it was by George Cadbury, which I think is different to the main Cadbury? I don't know.
One of the Cadbury men.
One of the Cadbury lads moved a house, and that's
Rich people stuff.
That's crazy.
Another point of note is this little thing called the rest house, and it was actually built and constructed by workers of the Cadbury factory for George and I think his wife silver wedding anniversary, just as like a nice gesture, because that's how like well respected he was by the staff that worked there, because we'll tell you some facts about why that might be later, but yeah, they just really liked him that much and like worked for him, so they made him this as a present. More rich people stuff.
That's quite the present. So I think this is also a school that was built for Bournville, again for the workers, and I think it was anyone up to the age of 18 would get like a day off a week from work to go and work on their studies. And fun fact, I think it's the second most bells in a building clock tower thing in the country. I think that's a fact.
I mean, if you're not exactly right, that is a lot of bells. So
That's quite a lot of bells. So you might be thinking, whoa, what a picture-perfect town conveniently situated by the Cadbury's factories. Well, fun fact, Cadbury actually created the town of Bournville for his workers, and apparently the story is that he was appalled by the sort of the living situation of like working class people, so he wanted to create a town that was picture perfect and very green, So he created Bournville, lots of greenery, and here they have what's called the Bournville Village Trust.
Wow, Rufus, look at all this grass! Yay!
So what is the Bournville Village Trust, I hear you cry as you hit the subscribe button for more great content to do vlogs on Tuesdays and Friday evenings.
This has turned into such a history vlog, isn't it?
I feel like this has become a thing, isn't it? We've gone too hard on it.
So if you want to live in Bournville nowadays, back then you had to follow the rules, but you still do to this day. And it's basically an agreement of rules, kind of like I think you have them in America called housing associations, where like you have to live, like follow a certain amount of rules, keep your house looking a certain amount of presentable, keep the historic like accuracy of your building.
You also have to pay a fee annually to be part of it, but then they use those funds for the upkeep and sort of maintenance here and there in the village as well.
I mean, to be fair, it's showing a really nice little village and all the houses are so well kept.
And some of the quirky rules that they still keep is that you're not allowed to make any modifications to the exterior of your house. That includes growing a new hedge or taking down a wall. You're not allowed to do that without prior permission, and if you do get an extension or something like that, it has to be within the right style to maintain the overall aesthetic.
Another random little thing about this town is that there are no pubs whatsoever, which for England is almost unheard of.
Especially when there's a canal going through it.
And that is because George Cadbury was a Quaker, which is...
I think it's a denomination of Christianity.
So he didn't drink alcohol, so he didn't build any pubs.
There's also no off licenses here either, so I don't think you can. I don't know if it's still true, but I think in like the centre of Bournville, I still think you can't get alcohol, which yeah, is very novel in England.
I quite like it.
You're also not allowed to keep caravans on your driveway or boats on your driveway. You have to leave them in like predetermined areas where that is allowed.
I feel like some people would hate living under those rules and some people would love it. So you'll have to let us know what you think.
Yeah, it is a really nice village though. I can definitely see myself living here, even abiding by those rules. And then also you're only a short train ride into Birmingham.
It's really cool. We're going to have another mooch, but stay tuned because we've got one more fact about how Cadbury and everything that we've talked about links to the canals. Obviously we have to share that. So yeah, stay tuned.
So, it's just like... They brought the stuff in on the boat, so I'm assuming.
No! Stay tuned for more historic facts with Boat Time. I'm just gonna keep it going, keep the History Channel vibe going. Back on the canal now for that crucial fact you've all been waiting for. Obviously the Worcester and Birmingham Canal runs right next to the Cadbury factory, and that's no coincidence because they actually used to use the canals to transport goods to make chocolate. So it was specifically chocolate crumb and sometimes cocoa beans, which would be shipped from the Caribbean on big ships to Gloucester docks and Sharpness docks, where we have been on the boat, and then basically the journey up the River Severn, at Stourport and onto the Worcester and Birmingham Canal, all the way that we've done, just to be delivered here, ready to be turned into chocolate at the chocolate factories. So yeah, the canals played such an important part in, like, genuinely, I know we make the joke, but the Industrial Revolution, because it's how they got the goods delivered better than on trucks and stuff. And then you've got the train line right next to it, which again isn't a coincidence because they would have moved from canals to the trains. And yeah, just pretty interesting how even a massive factory like that still relied on little narrowboats pootling up and down the canals. Pretty cool. So where else can we moor? Gigi there at home, and such an iconic chocolate factory right there. That's just so cool. So yeah, that was our walk around the Bournville village. We hope you have enjoyed.
If you did enjoy, hit subscribe because we're going to be looking around this area a little bit more and then heading back into the centre of Birmingham.
We make 2 videos a week and we're currently exploring central Birmingham, but we go everywhere all over the network.
Big shout out to our Chip Pals on Patreon. If you're interested in becoming a Chip Pal, check the link in the description.
Check us out on our socials where we post pics and stuff, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.